Vinylverse. Eric here, coming to you from the other side of the room, participating in the Vinyl Versus contest. Through the years, I guess that's what you call it, 4 or more albums of a significant year of your life. Yeah, Bill's a good dude. Don't mess with Bill. If you can't tell by the record player, I'm playing a little Marvelettes right now. I love that old doo-wop soul. Good, relaxing day off. Trying to pretend like I'm not getting sick like everyone else is. About to drink some orange juice. Sterilize my sheets. Clean everything in the house. Take a hot shower. And just crash and burn. So here we go. This does not... should be in order. Look at me. I am so prepared. Probably the most prepared. Alright, if you've ever seen my videos, all 2 of them by now, I kind of went on a Judas Priest rant. And I said I wasn't going to be the guy that talks about Judas Priest, but just for shits and tickles. Judas Priest, point of entry, 1981. This does not represent my sister in the sense of music, but I come from a small family. Just one sibling, 2 great parents, love them to death. Dad since passed, but he was a blessing in my life. Anyways, 1981, my sister was born. I came a couple years later, and she's a best friend. She's someone I can talk to. She's an awesome person. She helped mold and influence my taste in music, being a big sister. I was able to borrow her CDs when she started buying them before I did. And no need to rant on that, but love you, Lisa. All right. 1983, the year yours truly came into this world. Rat. That's some good fun music. Everyone remembers Motley Crue. People talk about Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses and all these 80s acts and hair metal groups. And, of course, Van Halen was larger than life and all. I like it all. But people forget about Rat. Don't slip on Rat. Great band. Good music. Enjoy it. 1983. I guess with being born that year, that music really wouldn't fit. But I had a babysitter in the 80s, of course, when I was young. Friend of the family, her daughter. I used to take naps in her room and everything. And her walls there was no ceiling, there was no doors, there was no structure. It was just Circus and with Parade magazine, whatever those magazines were back in the day, of just Rat, Axl Rose / every 80s rock star you can ever imagine was just covering the walls. And I think that's one of the things that influenced my early listening tastes, is just seeing that ingrained in your brain. You can't help but get infected by it, so to speak. All right. I don't really have a year of significance in my life, but since a link to this next one. But seeing how all these channels, the VC is all about music, I associate this would be 93, 94, that region, is when I started just deep diving and discovering music on my own accord. Not just listen to what the radio gives you or whatever your parents have on, or you make your own decisions. You start spending money with your saved allowance or birthday money or whatever it might be. And MTV was still a legitimate channel that everyone cared about at that time, and broke music, and you discovered things that way. And probably that era is when I started carving a path. And radio at that time, you still had proper disc jockeys, and you'd have oldies that was more doo-wop and soul, but then you have oldies that was like 50s and Beatles and kind of top 40 cliche, and then you'd have late night DJs that, might play Iggy and the Stooges that you're not going to hear at 3 o'clock during work hours. And so between the radio and MTV and deep dive in my parents' catalogs, and a sister who influenced me with some shoegaze and things I probably wouldn't have discovered on my own. Yeah, that 93, 94, 95 era is probably, since we're talking vinyl, we're talking music, something that led me to doing what I'm doing right now. All right. This is a fun one. I don't know if you watched my previous videos, but I collect bad album covers, and I want to say this was $2 or $3. I couldn't not buy it. 1999, Foxy Brown. Look at that gem right there. Forgive me for coughing. I am not feeling well, but I'm just going to hold this here for a second. So Foxy Brown, 1999. I grew up on blaxploitation movies, so the name Foxy Brown already had a trigger with me. Her music wasn't amazing. She rapped with Jay-Z, if you didn't know. I've listened to this whole thing. I don't put anything in my collection, even if it's just buying a bad record collection that I don't actually tangibly listen to. I have to cycle through it. I have to hear it. And, you know, it's crazy. There's like 16, 18 tracks on here. One of them was genuinely enjoyable. I can't recall it, but I don't think I could sit through this again to figure it out. But 1999, it was 1 year I overlapped. I was a freshman in high school. 98, 99. My sister was graduating. It was a weird transition in life for a lot of people. I always got along with all walks of life. I always have metalheads and punk rockers and hippies and rednecks and greasers and jocks. It doesn't matter. I've always got along with pretty much everybody. And that freshman year in high school, everyone kind of formed their niche and pocket. And I kind of remained steadfast and said, I'm going to be me. And if me is being a little bit of everyone, unintentionally, then I'm going to get along with those people that accept me in doses. But I am not going to worry about trying to fit into a pocket or being someone that somebody wants me to be. So 1999, once again, Foxy Brown. Look at that pretty lady right there. How can you not spend $3 on this? Personal opinion, you know, but a awesomely bad album cover, if you would. I'm not quite sure. I just like it. Music, if you want to listen to Foxy Brown, YouTube, whatever comes up first is probably going to be your best music. And you just leave it at that. Alright, after that, I'm originally from Wisconsin, lived in Illinois as a little kid, grew up in the Carolinas, a little bit of a northern born, southern raised. You'll hear me say 2 T's or 2 D's often, you know, and but growing up in predominantly North Carolina, everyone kind of mumbles, talks really fast, and sometimes I have to fight the urge to do that. So I'll say something that's definitively Midwest, but then I'll say something like used to oughta. So I catch flack from both sides of the family. But when we were in transition from North Carolina to South Carolina, it was right after high school. I was kind of acting stupid, you know, some meathead tendencies. I really wasn't ever one to pick a fight, but I sure couldn't walk away from it. And I put myself in situations where fights would occur. And I just wasn't doing anything with my life, and I had to make a change. And my dad took a job here, and the family was moving, and I had a choice to either kind of come along and carve a new path or kind of fall into old ways. And anyways, so this Modest Mouse, that music, I don't know if it so represents that, but this is from that time frame. Something I enjoyed. I actually probably discovered a couple years after the fact. At that time, they're probably just MTV for me, and I wasn't really listening to albums. But Modest Mouse, good news for people who love bad news. I mean, that might be kind of appropriate for some of the people I was hanging out with. But, oh man, this album right here would have been a perfect excuse for a gatefold. Nice packaging. You know, it's nice and fat. It's not too tight, but they just sneak in 2 sleeves instead of making a proper gatefold. I thought they could have done something cool with some artwork in the middle of that. So, that's pretty much it, but something I want to say at the end of this video is that it's a new year. It's still January here, so I haven't bought any 2019 music, but I just want to say, I don't know, polite tidbit to everyone that this is your year. 2019, live in the moment, discover new music by all means of this era, but in life in general, stay positive, stay focused, work hard, let the bad things fall off your back, and just know that if you look into the past from the future, and something like this were to happen again, you could say 2019. That was the year I did this. This is the year I made a move. That's the year I got a better job. That's the year I, finally restored my dad's old broken car. That's the year I met this girl. Whatever it may be, make sure that you make a 2019 your year. And as always, take care, God bless, and all that jazz.